Hello friends, welcome to a functional mobility for hips class. You'll only need a chair for this. Some of you might find a pillow or a stuffed animal also helpful later on, and something soft to move on, like a mat. We're going to start by sitting on your chair, and then place your fists between your knees, and then lift your feet off the ground so they're hovering slightly. Then we're going to internally rotate, so try to lift your ankles up, and then come back in. Internally rotate, come back in. Keep doing this. Squeeze your hands between your knees as you open. See if you can open a little bit higher each time. And you should start to feel this in where your femur, that long leg bone, inserts into your pelvis. It's almost like we're just scraping out little cobwebs in your hip socket. Good. I'll do 2 more. 1 more after this. Good. Now, sometimes it helps to sit back on the chair a little bit more. Hands come between your legs, and then lift your knees up off the ground. This might be enough. What we're going to try to do is lift up and then open more. Come back in and down. Lift up, try to open more. Up, middle, and down. Try that again. Lift up, open, together, down. I find it's helpful to point my toes. I don't know why, it just feels like it engages my leg a little bit more. Do 3 more. Open, close, down. 2 more. Open, close, down. Last one. Open, close, and down. Nice job. Probably feeling a little bit of a burn in your hips at this point. You're done with your chair. Move that out of the way. Then come sit on your seat. Hands come behind you. And then open your legs wide. Come onto the pinky toe edge of your foot. And then see if you can open your legs even wider. And then just start to flap your knees backwards and forward, just like a gentle flapping. If you have roommates, this might be a little bit weird time for them to walk in, but that's okay. Good. Now just start to drop your knees from side to side. See if you can get your knees to touch the ground. They don't have to quite yet, but see if there's a way in your body you can facilitate the direction of both knees going down. If this is feeling okay, the next step is to leave your trailing leg down as long as possible as your lead leg opens up. And then there's a point where your trailing leg needs to come along for the ride. So see how far your lead leg can go without your trailing leg and then bring it along for the ride. If you feel like that feels good in your body, the next step up would be to take your hands off the floor. Hands come upright. Open your lead leg, and then your trailing leg follows. Just these 90-90 switchbacks. Again, I like to think about my femur, the head of it inside my pelvis, and it's just kind of like scraping all the little bits of tissue out of the way so that there's a bit more fluidity and space in my hips. Good. We're going to land with your right shin forward. So I'll just show from this angle. And what you're looking for is to get 90 degrees with your thigh and your calf. But if there's any tension or soreness in your knee, just bring your ankle in closer to you. That's okay. And your back leg should also look like a 90-degree angle. So leg and then lower leg in 90 degrees. Sit up nice and tall here. You might start to feel sensation around your butt, around your hips. That is okay. What we're looking for is to start stretching the muscles of the back of the front leg. So start to walk yourself forward, lean over your shin, and come down into a stretch. Where I'm feeling the stretch is hamstring, so back of the leg, glute, and low back. If you don't feel a stretch here, walk towards your foot. And if you feel too much stretch, come towards your knee. That's going to ease off. If you're somewhere in the middle, again, just fold over your shin. And we're just going to take a few moments here to settle into this feeling. This feeling of muscles lengthening as they come into stretch. I like to think of them as like silly putty. When you get silly putty, it's almost like cold and hard to start, and that's how your muscles start. But as they relax into a stretch, they warm up and they start to stretch out more like silly putty. Okay, start to walk yourself up and place your hands on either side of your front thigh. You're going to find a position where you're able to lift from knee to ankle 1 inch off the ground. If you get more than an inch, lean forward more. That's going to make it more challenging. We just want like an inch, not a lot. But if you're having trouble lifting, you can bring your hands behind you and find the lift off this way. So find the torso position that works for you where you're getting just barely a lift off, and then lock your torso into this position. We're not going to move it from this shape for the next few moves. Next, the effort part is trying to smush your whole shin into the ground using just the muscles of your leg. So start to push down, activate the back side of your leg, your butt, your low back. All of those muscles that were just in stretch, now they are in strong. They're efforting. This should be hard. If you start to sweat, you are doing it right. If you start to tremble, you're doing it right. Keep breathing. Now place both hands on either side of your thigh. Keep your torso in the same relative angle to your front thigh, but push down into the ground as you prepare for a liftoff. Shoulders come forward. Then you're going to pull your femur back into your pelvis and then see if you can get that liftoff. Whew. This should be challenging. You might not get liftoff at all, but just go in the direction of liftoff. If you do get a liftoff, keep fighting for 1 millimeter higher each time. We're here for another 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Whew. That's some tough stuff. Good job. You're going to stay with your right leg forward. I'm just going to turn so that you can see. We're going to turn and look at your back leg, left leg, and make sure that this is at 90 degrees unless you're feeling pain in your knee, in which case bring it into about 45 degrees. And then find the position of your torso where you can get lift off with your back leg. So when I'm more upright, I can't get lift off. But if I lean forward and a bit to the side, then I can start to get that lift off. So I'm going to stay in this position with my torso for this next part. Same thing we did with the front leg. You're going to start to smush your whole shin down into the ground as if you were trying to dent the floor. You're using all the muscles on the backside of your trailing leg to do this. And if you can't tell from my breathing, I am very labored as I do this. This is challenging. It feels hard. Good. As you prepare for the lift off, you can plant your hands, dome your shoulders forward, pull your femur into the hip socket, and then get lift off. Breathe here. Try not to let your knee go forward. Try to keep it back. Once you get lift off, if you do, lift higher and higher for another 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Come down. Nice job. Whew. Okay, we're going to rock that out from side to side. Ooh. So one direction of these 90-90 switchbacks is going to feel very open. The other, not so much. We just worked on external rotation of your right leg and internal rotation, which is this, of your left leg. So what we've done on one side, we should do on the other. Just flesh that out a little bit longer so that your body can come back to feeling a bit more neutral. And then next time your left shin is down, pause there. Check for your 90-90. If you're feeling sore in your knee, come into more of a 45-degree angle and start to fold forward over your left shin. If you don't feel a stretch in your hamstring, your glute, or your low back, move towards your foot, maybe even towards the center. That'll give more sensation. If you're feeling too much sensation as you come down here, come towards your knee. And if you're like just right, Goldilocks, right in the center, it's fine. See if you can relax into this. We're trying to get those muscles, those little silly putties in the back of your leg, butt, and back to relax, to warm up, to stretch out, like so much silly putty. Breathe here. Nice job. All right, walk your hands up, frame your front thigh. And then find the position of your torso where you get just barely a lift off the ground. Once you found it, get ready for pushing down. Remember, if it's too easy, lean forward. If you can't quite get it, lean backwards. Hands can come behind you to support. All right, start to push down with your whole shin into the ground. Activate the muscles of your leg, of your butt, of your low back to facilitate that. I'm pushing down really hard. I'm trembling as I do this. Now I'm going to get my hands ready for the lift off. Keep pushing down. Plant your hands, dome your shoulders forward. Start to pull that femur into your pelvis as you pull back and lift off. Once you get lift off, lift a little higher. If you don't get lift off, that's okay. Just keep trying for lift off. The effort here is what matters. The lift really doesn't matter. Keep breathing for another 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lower down. Nice job. Let's look to your trailing leg now. Your right leg is now an internal rotation of the hip. And again, check with your knee. If your knee's feeling sore, bring it into 45. We don't need to stretch out your knees. And then find the position where you can get lift off of your whole shin. Can't quite get it here, so I'm going to lean forward and a bit to the side to facilitate that lift off. Good. Now I've locked my torso into this position. It's not moving for the whole exercise. I'm going to start pushing my shin into the ground using the strength of my leg. This should be hard. You should be trembling as you push with maximum effort down into the ground. I'm going to keep pushing as I prepare my hands for the lift off. So I'm planting my hands, doming my shoulders forward, and then pull your femur into your pelvis as you get lift off. Try not to let your knees sneak forward. You want it kicking back the whole time. Breathe. Keep lifting for 3, 2, 1. Down. Hands come behind you. 90-90 rocks from side to side. Whew, almost feels like brand new hips. So we can take these babies for a little ride now with 90-90 get-ups. So this is optional. You can just stick with hands behind you, 90-90 rocks. This is just a fun little trick, little party trick if you are at the point of being hands-free with the 90-90 switchbacks. The next step from these is to get up from the floor. So when you land in your 90-90, bring both your feet into 45-45. And then I'm going to think about thrusting my hips forward. So you roll onto your shin and press your hips forward. And then come back down, send your butt back first. Bring your feet back into 90-90. Roll over. Now you're on the other side. Slide into 45-45. I'm going to roll onto this front shin as I press my hips forward to get up. And then send my butt back. Little hinge forward to come down. Back into 90-90 with my legs. Roll over to the other side. 45-45. When I get to here, the next thing I can do is actually get up from the floor. So if I lean forward and put most of my weight into this front leg, my back leg becomes free, and I can slide it forward to plant my foot on the ground. From here, it's pretty simple to just stand up. And now I'm standing without using my hands at all. To come back, land your shin at a 45-degree angle, and then you're going to step this foot back. I like to think about bringing my knee to my foot and then sit back down, back to 90-90, over to the side, 45-45, roll onto the shin, press my hips forward, then lean into my front leg to free up my bottom leg as I stand up. Pretty cool. Now the leg that stood up last goes down first. Drop my shin at a 45-degree angle. Now this knee is going to connect with my foot to come down. And here I am, not using my hands at all to get up and down from the floor, which is a pretty cool trick for some of your adult activities. Yeah, hope you enjoy that. Next, we're going to do squat pails and rails. So for this, we'll start standing. And most people squat incorrectly, and it's not your fault. It's the bros at the gym that have ruined this for everyone. But oftentimes people will squat with a narrow and parallel stance. And what happens when you try to squat like this is eventually, even if you have the mobility in your ankles and in your hips to get low, your body runs into your legs. So I can't get any lower than this, even though I have the mobility for it, because my rib cage is hitting my thighs. So what we can do to have a more effective squat is to step your feet wide, make sure there's enough room for your upper body to get between your legs. And then you'll notice that I also turn my toes out. What that does is it, for most people, will insert the head of your femur into your pelvis in a better way. So you're just avoiding that bone on bone connection. Good squat position is thinking about tracking your knees over your toes, keeping your torso upright as you do that. And then think about your tailbone as like a little root, and it wants to get planted into the ground. Okay, so find your wide stance, track your knees over your toes. As you sink your tailbone down, torso stays upright. There, that is a nice squat position. Now to make this effortful, bring your hands underneath your toes. If you can't reach your toes, grab your ankles. And then you're going to find a position where your arms are fully straight. And then see if you can keep sinking your butt down while you keep your arms straight. Push your feet down into your hands as you pull back up with your hands. Do that now. Pull with maximum effort with your hands, push down with your feet with maximum effort. This should feel very challenging, but we're not here forever. Breathe. In just a moment, we're going to try to sink your tailbone down and release the hands in 3, 2, 1. Swing your hands forward as you drop your tailbone down. My butt is touching the ground now, just from that one little correction. So keep swinging your arms up. That's going to bring your torso upright, and keep driving your tailbone down. Compress, pull your abs in for another 3, 2, 1. Nice job. Whew. That is one of my favorites. It just immediately gives so much more room in your squat depth, which is handy if you are walking around someone or need to change levels and get high and low. Sorry about that. My camera quit, so we are re-recording this next part. So next we're moving into froggy. So there's 2 different ways to do froggy. If you find that your knees get really sensitive, bring your toes together. And if you're okay, you can flex your feet out to the side and kind of create 90-degree angles. You can also do one leg at a time and just repeat this part of the video if you can't put full weight on both knees. So then from here, you're going to lower yourself down onto your forearms. And then if you have roommates, I'm sorry, they're probably gonna think this is weird. You're going to start to push backwards and forwards a few times, just feeling into the depth of your range. This is very groin heavy if you hadn't noticed yet. So just back and forth, swinging forwards and backwards into froggy. Good. Now find your deepest version of this with your butt back as far as it can go without pain, just sensation. And then you're going to start to tip your tailbone up and down, up and down, like a very slow motion, silly little booty shake. You might start feeling feedback from your body as it's like, what are you asking me to do? Just do a few of these to further loosen up in the groin area. Good. Okay, now stay in a place where you're as far back as you can be and tailbone is tucked as much as possible. Good. From this position, you're going to try to close your knees together as if they were a book. So try to drive your knees down and through the ground as if you could actually close them. Feel all of those muscles start to ignite. This should feel like a lot of effort. Breathe. Keep pushing down. Another 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Relax. We're going to do that one more time. See if you can sink a little bit lower. Push back, tuck your tailbone, and then close your knees for another 15 seconds. Breathe through this. Push your knees down as hard as you can. If you're trembling, you're doing it right. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Relax. Now come out really slow. I like to come forward onto the front of my thighs, so this part of your thighs. And then just lay on my front body and windshield wiper my ankles from side to side. You can start to maybe stretch up a little bit a few times. Nice job. Okay, let's move into a kneeling position to start. And then imagine from your knees there are train tracks running front and back. You want to try to stay on these train tracks the whole time. You're going to step 1 foot forward and then come into a lunge. So for a lunge, you want to think about keeping your heel planted, driving your knee over your toes, and think about sinking your pelvis down as much as possible. You should start to feel stretches in quite a few places. This is a pretty complicated move that involves a lot of muscles. What we're really trying to target right now is this hip. So if you're not feeling it in your hip, what you can do is tuck your tailbone more and maybe even turn off to the side just slightly. And that should open up this front side of your hip. Now I need you to find a position where your hands are on the ground. If it's too hard to frame your foot because you need to have more room for your body, just walk your foot out more and make room for it. You can widen your train track. And then again, think about tucking your tailbone here. So your torso is locked in this position, but now your back leg and your front foot are glued to the ground. All right, so they can't move. The task is to try to pull your body forward in space. So pushing off your hands, try to pull your body forward. It's not going to do it because everything else is glued to the ground. But with maximum effort, try your best to pull your leg forward. Breathe. Keep pulling for another 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Nice job. Now you're going to walk yourself back, bend this back leg as you extend the front leg, and come back as far as you can. You might even come up for a moment to adjust your torso, and then with a flat back, lean forward over that leg. Just breathing here, feeling the lengthening along the back side of your leg. Good. All right, now you're going to drive your heel down into the ground with as much effort as you possibly can. So start to do that now. Push your heel down into the ground. Feel those stretch muscles now go into strong as they try to help you push your heel into the ground. Keep a slight bend in your knee if your knee tends to hyperextend. Breathe, keep efforting down for another 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Nice job. Come out slow. Find your kneeling position once more. If you need to take a few little moments to shake that out, do that. Then come up, step your other foot forward, and then find that stretch along the front of your hip. So you can tuck your tailbone, maybe even come over to the side slightly. Breathe as you feel that stretch. And then bring your hands down. They can either be framing your foot or you can bring them to the inside of your foot as you heel toe yourself out. Come down as low as you can, possibly. And then imagine that this foot and this long leg are glued to the ground. The task is to pull your whole body forward, but unfortunately you're glued to the ground, but still try your best. Maximum effort here is if you believed that you could actually drag it despite the glue. Keep pulling yourself forward. Breathe. Keep going for another 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Nice job. Start to walk your hands back as you bend the back leg, extend the front leg. You can come up for a moment, lengthen your torso, and then fold forward, belly button first, into length along the back of this leg that's in the front. Breathe into the stretch feeling. Now let the effort begin. Drive your heel down into the ground with as much effort as you possibly can. Breathe. If you're trembling, you're doing it right. Keep pushing that heel down into the ground. Here for another 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Nice job. Come out nice and slow. Bring your leg behind you and then shake your hips from side to side. Okay. I'm going to show a fun little flow that you can do. First one is a Cossack flow. So a Cossack squat is a squat where you put your weight into one leg. Both heels stay down in this type of squat. So start to track your knees over this toe. As you come forward, these toes are going to come up, but you notice the heel stays on the ground. And then I'm in this kind of like Spider-Man sort of posture. So Cossack is like basically a super side lunge. If you can't quite get that low, that's okay. As part of this flow, you can just come into a side lunge, but still think about tracking knees over toes. See if you can lift up those toes. So for this flow, you're going to sit yourself down from your low lunge or Cossack. Then take your bent leg and step it over your extended leg. Next, think about really twisting your hands behind you. You're going to point your feet in the direction that you're going, which is this way. As you roll yourself up into a lunge, push back so you find the lunge. Then you're going to keep rolling, point your toes forward as you roll down and find either low lunge or Cossack. You can sit yourself down, and then we take the flow the other way. So I like to give myself a little boost here. Roll up, come through lunge, and then you're going to try to put the side of your leg on the ground first. So point your toes this way, and then land that leg on the ground first, and then step your other foot forward, and you're in the starting position. Let's do that on the other side. So bend into your other leg, whether you're starting in low lunge or Cossack, that's fine. Use your hands to bring you down to a seated position. Then step your foot over your leg. Really swing your arms to twist as far as you can. Point your toes in the direction you're moving. As you come up and push back into a lunge. And then keep rolling. Point your toes forward. Bend into your knee as these toes come up for seated Cossack. And then we reverse that. So if you need to push yourself to get up, come up, roll forward into lunge, and then land the outside of your leg first. So twist, point your toes forward, and then come all the way around to the starting position. That's just for funsies. It's a really good way just to like really feel all of the different complicated muscles of your hip working to help you. And eventually, I can't do that, but you might be able to do that with no hands at all. It's my dream one day. All right, next little flow is a butterfly flow. So butterfly is a position from yoga where you have your feet together. You can have your feet far forward or close together or somewhere in the middle. It's just really a matter of what's comfortable for you. This is external rotation of your hips, which is something we worked on at the beginning of class when we did the 90-90 shifts. So now what we're going to try to do is get up without using your hands from this butterfly position. So to do that, you'll take one leg and bring it into internal rotation. And then you can use momentum. You can use your hands. I'm going to use momentum to show you that you can come up to a kneeling position. Oops, foot cramp. From this kneeling position, if you're kneeling, you don't need your hands to get up. You just press your hips forward, step one foot forward, and stand up. And then to come back down, one knee comes down, the other knee comes down. You can sit down on your seat, and then you could open this back up into a butterfly by doing a little side shift, and then open external rotation, your thigh to the side. We'll do that in reverse. So close one knee, maybe use your hand or maybe use no hands to come into kneeling, and then press your hips forward, step one foot forward, and stand up. Nice job. All right, we're going to cool down with just some leg circles. So lay on your back, make sure you have room for your legs, And then just take 3 in one direction at whatever speed you'd like, and then 3 in the other direction. Just feeling how happy your hips and legs are after all of that. In order to do your other leg, 3 in one direction and 3 in the other. Excellent. All right, friends, that is mobility for hips. I hope your hips feel amazing. Make sure you drink water, take good care of yourself, and I hope you enjoy your brand new hips.